Reilly. And Breakfast with Bob.
Pancho Man! Round of applause, Pancho Man. Day 4, Breakfast with Bob from beautiful Huggles on the Rocks. We are brought to you by EAS Myoplex Polar Hoka on a VeloFix. Chris from VeloFix is actually here today in the crowd. Chris, way to go. Every one of our athletes will be receiving a VeloFix certificate, including my main man, Mr. Mike Reilly.
All right.
And we also are brought to you by Norma Tech, Four Seasons. Hualalai will be hosting our championship edition on Sunday. MEO Power Breather. My guest, the voice of Ironman, Mr. Mike Reilly. How about a round of applause for the legend, Hall of Famer, anything and everything, and soon to be author, right?
Yes.
You're working on your book.
Yes, I am.
So when you start working on a book, how hard is that to figure out, okay, I've been doing this thing for, 29 years?
Well, I've been writing down stories of what people have told me they've gone through to get to the start line and kind of banking them and for the last, 20-some years. And it's just been compiling. And I go, I've got to get this together because I've been motivated and inspired when I read them. And why not pass them forward and so other people can read what people have gone through to get to a start line of an Ironman or even to get to a start line of a 5K, to get off the couch. So I just want to be able to pass that along, and we're putting it together now.
What I love is whenever I'm traveling, people will always come up to me and say, you brought me across the finish line at Ironman Lake Placid, thinking that I'm him. And I'm like, I'll call you an Ironman right now for $20, and I've made a lot of money.
No wonder my reputation's gone down.
Yeah, really. You're an effing Ironman. I win. You're very welcome. How did that start? How did the whole you are an Ironman start?
Well, I was here in 89 and 90, and I never said it. And then I saw a friend on the street in 91 from San Diego on Lee Drive, and he was all nervous, and I couldn't understand why, because I knew he was in great shape. He was a great runner, and he goes, I don't know. And I go, man, you're in great shape. You're going to be fine on race day. You'll be good. And he was all, like no confidence, and I couldn't understand it. And finally, as I'm walking away from him, we're leaving, and I go, don't worry, you're going to be an Ironman. So the day went on, and here he comes, and he went like 11 and a half or 12 hours. I mean, he was a quick guy, and he's coming on in. So I recalled the conversation we had. I go, yeah, I told him he was going to be an Ironman. So when he came in, I yelled his name and said, you are an Ironman, just to reconfirm our conversation. And he looked up in the tower and was shaking, and the crowd, the roar that came up, I go, whoa, I might do that again.
For the next 30 years.
I'm no dummy. I know how to, crowd reaction. And so I did, and I did it again and again. And there was another announcer there that didn't want to do it. I said, why don't you? He goes, no. And then the crowd was starting to yell, say it, say it. So I would say it every time. And that was 340-some thousand times ago. So.
340,000. How many, this is what number for you here in Kona?
This is my 169th Ironman on the microphone.
And how many here in Kona?
29.
How about another round of applause on that? So you've had the honor of calling some of the most iconic moments. You were there for Iron War, right? When those guys and back then you don't have websites. You're not getting updates besides people on a hardline phone, basically calling. What did you hear from the course?
Well, the spotters, especially, I knew they were together on the ride. We couldn't really calculate how fast they were riding. We didn't have the technology to do that. Guessing, I knew they were 25 to 30 range just because that's what they did, if not more. And then they got on the run, and the first spot, I had a landline in the tower, and spotters were along the course, and they would call, they just went by mile 4. And then I said, well, make sure when you hit them at 5, start your watch so I know what they're doing. Well, they went down to the energy pit. It was a different course, came back up. It was the 4th or 5th mile. The guy gives me the split, and I go, no, you come on. Let's wait till the next mile. Why don't you tell me how fast they ran the mile in? Because the calculation said they were doing, under sub 6.
Sub 6, yeah.
And so he goes next mile. Well, that was a 5:41, Mike. I'm thinking, are these guys on crack out there? This is unbelievable. So I actually waited till about 10K, and I go, oh my gosh, they're running at that time a sub 240 marathon. And I told the crowd that, and it was like, you heard this collective, are you kidding me? And they couldn't wait for the next report because there was nothing online.
Nothing.
And I got it around 10 miles, which was obviously an easy calculation on the pace per mile, and it was sub 6. And I said, well, my gosh, can you imagine if they keep that pace? And then you saw everybody like, oh my gosh. So every time we would say how fast they were going and that they were still side by side, not breaking stride, running together, people, you could see it in their eyes. It's just too bad it wasn't live television.
It would have been amazing.
Yeah.
And that basically, when you have that day, Dave Scott went 8:28. He had gone 8:28, which is his course record. He went 8:10, took 18 minutes off his course record, ran a 2:41 marathon, and lost, which was unbelievable.
And one of the most, the mind of a champion is an amazing thing of what they put themselves through. And to watch Dave, I was down there for Mark, and watch Dave come through that finish line 58 seconds later, knowing that Mark pulled away, but yet Dave looking at his then wife Ann and go, I didn't win?
Yeah.
He couldn't even comprehend that he wasn't first because his mindset was nothing but one, through training, through winning
Always.
6 times.
Yeah.
And he actually couldn't believe it until somebody told him that he was second, even though he watched Mark pull away. I mean, the mind of a champion is something, I know I'll never have.
So I was with you up at Ironman Mount Tremblant, and during this week, I'm doing stuff, you're doing stuff. I really had an opportunity to watch you up close and personal. You are unbelievable.
What do you mean?
Just watching you as just how hard you prepare, how that morning starts at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. You go way past midnight. The energy is there the whole time. How do you do that? It's pretty much unbelievable to me.
I sometimes know. I don't know. I do know the energy of the event and wanting to be able to give the athletes everything they deserve is everything to me. And so I don't want to be lackluster. I don't want to be tired. I don't want to lose my voice. And I think I will myself into being that person that's going to be there for them, because some of athletes I know are there without their families. People can't travel with them, and we're their family.
Right.
And so I work the days through hours. Okay, it's 6 a.m. Let's go to 7. Let's go to 8. I don't work it like, oh my gosh, how are we going to make it till midnight? And the energy level just has always been there because it just comes back from the event and the athletes to me. It just fills me all day long. I don't know. It just does.
So obviously a lot of amazing moments at those finish lines. Blazeman, Sarah Reinertsen,
Yeah.
you've seen so many. What are some of the ones that mean the most to you? Obviously, him calling your son across at Ironman Arizona, that was pretty special.
That was number one.
That's number one, right?
That's number one. Yeah.
Andy did Ironman Arizona, and that
2013.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're calling people go, what's your best time? Well, calling my son. Well, better than everybody. Yeah, are you kidding me? What was amazing is I went down there, and I knew he was coming because people were letting me know where he's at. And he's coming on in, so I said to myself right away, don't lose it. Just, do your thing. So I did. Andy Reilly, you are an Ironman. And my wife, his mom was right there. His older sister, Erin, they're right there. Mom's got the medal. Erin's got the Mylar blanket. So he comes by, hugs me, high fives, and goes by to the girls. And Mom puts the medal on him. Erin puts the Mylar blanket on him. I'm standing there like, oh, yeah, we're a family. They turn around, they walk away from me. I see him walk, I go,
A little something for the
and
effort.
so I didn't know what to do. And I don't do it. I've done it maybe 3 or 4 times, called somebody an Ironman twice. So I yelled, Andy Reilly, you are an Ironman. Like, Dad's back here. And he's walking away, like this. And I just saw him go like that. I go, okay, I'm good now.
Yeah.
It's just, they were leaving me.
Some of the other moments.
Oh, gosh, there are so many. I think some of the best moments are the moments of people that I know their story and their backstory, and they went through some serious, tough times in their lives to even get to a start line. I've got, a lot of stories about people that have been, the drug addiction and addictions in their life have controlled them for sometimes 20, 25 years, and they come out of it, and this seems to be the way they do it. So when I bring somebody like that in, I'm calling them an Ironman, and it's the point in their life where I think they believe, finally my life has changed. Even though they hadn't been doing that addiction, or they've been trying to heal themselves or get help. But at that moment, at the finish line. But, people like Sarah Reinerson, when I turned around from the tower about 5:35 p.m., I didn't know what was going on behind me, but it was the bike dismount line, and I turned around. And knowing Sarah for so long in San Diego.
She's a single above knee amputee who was trying to become the first single above knee amputee to finish the Ironman.
And I turn around and look, and she's got her hands on her knees, and she's sobbing, and everybody is, and I'm going, oh my God, she didn't make the bike cutoff.
Yeah.
And I was so sorrowful, because knowing what she was going through to get there, and I go, God, her day can't continue. And all of a sudden, somebody's tapped my shoulder, and it's my assistant, Mike, here comes somebody. So you go back into the, yeah, you're alive. And it was just a hard dichotomy of going from one to the other. But then bringing her in the next year and seeing the look on her face coming in, be able to call her an Ironman, because knowing that she had unfinished business. Heck, Cannondale even put that on the side of her bike.
Yes, they
unfinished business. And to bring her in. And there's been so many like that. When people come up to me and remind me about their finish and some of the great ones, like, oh my gosh, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
The funny thing on Sarah's is we interviewed her on the radio show not that long ago, and she was saying, she missed the cutoff time in 04, and then that became, she says, I was a woman possessed. I needed to get to that finish line. It was unfinished business. Ironman became the highest maintenance boyfriend I have ever had in my life. I love that. That was
That's a great line.
So she came across the line the next year an hour faster. She was hoping for 16:05, came over like 15:05, and it pretty much changed everything.
And you know what the last 2 hours are like.
It's the best.
It's a passion, and I like going down there and bringing them in and to see their faces and get hugs. And and the other athletes that come back that have gone 10, 11, 12 hours, and they come back to the finish line to bring in their fellow competitors, they're in awe. Go, my God, I couldn't be out there for 15 hours. That is amazing. How do they do that? So that's a special time.
When did it start that the pros came back? Because that wasn't early on. That happened later. I don't remember Dave Scott and Mark Allen coming back down to the finish line back in those days.
I think one of the first pros that came back, because it was Peter Reed, because he had done it in Australia when we went to Australia. And we were staying, our condos where everybody still was right there, and he came back, oh my gosh, here's our champion, Peter Reed. And it was so cool. And then he came back in Kona, and it just kind of started. And the women came back, and now I used to say to him, I go, hey, can you come back and put the final medals on the last hour? And they'd look at you and, oh, okay. Now the pros are finished. Mike, I'll be back. They're like little kids. I'll be back. Ooh, we'll be back.
The other thing that you have you've been around for so long with this, but back in the day, it was somebody up in a tower just telling people they're done with the race. And you've brought an entertainment factor to the finish line at Ironman with the music, and it's all scripted out. You know what songs you're going to play at between 10 and 11 hours and 12 hours and that 16 to 17 hour mark. When did that all start, and what was the response at first? Did people feel like, hey, this is supposed to be sort of, it was almost like a solemn moment, and then it became a party?
Yeah, I think it was knowing that when I've gone to baseball games or football games or arenas or concerts, music just does something to the soul. So I wanted to be able to have the crowd involved and it was all about having that crowd go as loud as they can for that finisher. So when you're playing a hot 80s song and everybody's singing and going, having a good time to it, it just raised the level. And then I'd listen to a song on the radio and go, oh my God, that's perfect for the finish line at like 8 o'clock. Oh my gosh, that's going to be like at 11:30 at night. That'll keep every journey, and that's just kind of how it evolved. And I didn't want to be it's not about my voice or me standing there calling their name. It's about the arena that we want to bring them in. We're bringing them we're bringing them home. They're coming into the front door is wide open, and the world wants them to come home. And so I want the world to know that it's going to be a party that brings them home. And everybody goes, Mike, this is what you said to me, and thank you. You were playing such and such a song. They'd say the title to the song. They remember that.
They remember that.
But now I get requests, and I can't. No, I can't. Sorry.
I try to coordinate.
I cannot play friggin' U2 for you at a certain time. Okay,
not going to happen. How is this finish line different than the other Ironman finish lines? There's 45 fulls around the world. You're calling so many different ones. How is this one different?
Well, it's different in the respect that it's the World Championship, and the world comes together. We race all over the world, whether it's New Zealand, Australia, Frankfurt, wherever it's at. The aura in that finish line is incredible. But then all of a sudden you take all those finish lines and they come here. And so it becomes a mass world finish line, not just Kona. And I think that's what makes it so special. It's the world coming together in a sport we all love. It's a world coming together in a place that is very cultural and spiritual. And it just is never going to be duplicated. Now, are there other great finish lines? Oh my gosh, I've had some incredible finish lines, but yet all those finish lines, in my mind, come here, and we do this place justice and this race justice.
And how is this island? I mean, you've been here so many times now. How does this island impact you? Just coming back here every year.
When I walk off the steps to the airplane and I step on the tarmac and I'm on the lava, it's like something has always kind of invaded me, and it's been positive. It's been some type of spirit, some type of saying to me, I'm home. Even the first year.
Yeah.
And walking around in awe that first year, I said to myself, I never want to lose this feeling. Why would you want to lose a feeling of such power? And so I don't know if I pull that feeling in every time I step on the land and, ride the log of a field and go for a run or go for a swim. But it just invades you like no other place on earth. It's just what it does.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for the voice of the Ironman, Mr. Mike Reilly, Poncho Man. Take us out, baby.
Everybody get ready. Here we go. Hey! When I say Mike, you say Reilly. Mike.
Reilly.
Mike.
Reilly.
And Breakfast with Bob.
Yeah.
You guys rock. They're on it. Yeah. More Mai Tais. I mean coffee. Oh, Mai Tais.